Kevin, a quiet afternoon here at the Sia Stadium, the mere matter of a 4-3 victory over Altrincham in the Isuzu FA Trophy this afternoon. And my goodness, what a turnaround, 2-0 down at half time, and probably some people wondering how you were going to get back into it, but what a recovery.
Yeah, we done well in the end. We were poor in the first half, and we never quite understood certain moments in the game. They pressed us really, really well and made life hard for us and backed us right up to our own penalty area, where we probably start out with safe possession in and around the halfway line, and they kept forcing us back, and when we did, when we did get into certain moments, we kept giving it back to them too easy, and we've got to show a little bit more composure in certain areas, certainly in the first half, and we made life, like I say, a little bit too easy for Altrincham. They're a good side, some really good players, as you saw. They're ruthless with the finishing to take a 2-0 lead. And yeah, we haven't, I don't think we recognise certain moments, and I just need to help the lads when we find ourselves in those situations. But yeah, look, the resilience we've shown, the desire to keep working for one another, the subs getting off the bench and having a fantastic effect was great. Senna coming up with the goals like he has, brilliant. And yeah, it's turned out to be a terrific afternoon for everybody. I guess if you're looking at it as a neutral, you'd have been loving the game, but certainly how it kind of ebbed and flowed when you're 2 down, and then you get yourself back into it at 2-1, and we have the ball's in and around their 6-yard box where we should be finishing the job and bringing it back to 2-2, and then they break away and score the goal they do at 3-1 for the boys to keep believing like they have. And like I say, Jimmy getting off the bench and dragging us back with a chance of getting back into it, and the boys still believing, still working really, really hard, getting in really good moments, and to finish the game in the way that we did it's obviously really, really enjoyable and delighted for everybody. But first half we haven't give the crowd enough to feed on, and I could feel that they wanted something to get behind the lads for, and we didn't do that well enough in the first half, if I'm honest. Certainly, I think changing the system and the way that we played, and that bit more aggression and that bit more quality in certain moments has obviously come to the fore and allowed us to win the game.
Sure. I thought you've spoken about the resilience there, and I spoke about to somebody that I know from Altrincham there about when the third goal went in, the nature of it, the fact that Altrincham hadn't really been in the second half much of that point, but broke away. The shot goes in, it's deflected, it wrong foots Josh, and it can be the kind of thing that makes you feel that it's not going to be your day, but that you didn't lie down.
No, we didn't lie down. Sort of looking at it, they were far and away the better side in the first half. As I say, the press was really good. The way that they, when they needed to go and get a tackle and a bite and win the ball back, they did. When we got the ball back off them, we didn't manage the ball particularly well. And as I say, we've struggled to understand that and be effective within it. It was important to get into half time at 2-0. You're kind of still in the game, and we knew if we could score next, the game would open up again. When you rock back and having been the best side from half time to the point of their third goal, that does rock you back. Can we still believe? Brilliant when a sub gets off the bench like that and heads one, and all of a sudden you're within the touching distance of them again. We've got players in the team that can score and go and find moments, and that became a difficult place for them at that point. And when Stano steps up like he does and finishes that moment, I'm not saying there's going to be only one winner in it, but like I say, the impetus is with us then, isn't it? When they've been 2 goals to the good on 2 occasions, and then you keep chasing them down and find those moments. Fantastic. And just the interaction between our players and our crowd, and making the most of home advantage and giving our supporters something to cheer about and latch on to was important, and we've done that really, really well in the second half, and it's just nice when you come through it in the manner that we have then.
Sure. I mean, the outcome being in the draw for Monday is ultimately the measure of success in a knockout competition, and some of what happened in the first half clearly is what you'll unpick with the players when you get together. I don't know whether sometimes, do you feel that sometimes maybe there's just I think the way I've seen it worded is some people suggested maybe we're, too respectful of the opposition sometimes, or is it not quite as simple as that?
I think, like I say, the players, the boys, the players, 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 the players Yeah, I'm not sure it is as simple as that. You know, we wanted to get in their face, and we want to trust in ourselves and want to pass the ball, and they made it hard for us to pass the ball. You know, and I think when there were those individual battles between a couple of players, they tackled better than we did. They were aggressive in the press, and when they turned it over, they recognised better moments and better situations than we did. There were a couple for us in the first half, but not as much as we'd come to expect at home. And yeah, look, it was really, really important. I felt if we could get in at 2-0, we were still in the game. Clearly, I'm going to say one or two bits and pieces and liven one or two up at half time. We had to change the system and take a bit of a chance, but we've been eager to try and pair two central strikers for quite some time now, but such is the form of the players that have been out there and the consistency of players out there. I don't feel we've had that opportunity. In an ideal world, we'd have 12 players on the field and see, which one would work best for us. But you don't get that, do you? And just being measured about what we do, players that stay to a good level and a consistent level, is where we need to find it. And look, we know we could move to that system. We've got players that can do it, and you're all the time learning about players and their ability to deal with situations, and they've been in a difficult place there, certainly through the first half, and staying together and believing in one another, and keeping us with a chance at half time was a real plus. The game could have been moved away from us with the greatest respect, and fortunately it wasn't. We've got something to bite on and something to cling to going out in the second half, and we did exactly that.
Sure. Do you think it's something of an incentive, as it were, in that you know the game's got to be won today, and the players know the game's got to be won today? I was speaking about the away league win, which clearly now has arrived, but I was asked the question about why perhaps you've been able to win away from home in knockout competitions, but not in league games, and I suggested that possibly it was that, it has to be settled on the day. You've got to deliver on the day. There isn't any sort of, it's now or never. And was there a sense of that about today, do you think?
I'd say no. I don't think we're that good that, we can allow that thought to enter our head. If I'm being totally honest, I'm not always the brightest, and lads go out and play, and we want to score goals, and we want to be entertaining as well if we can. The most important thing, as we've said, is getting results, is getting 3 points, is winning the game. If you can do that in an attractive way, then great. Sometimes you can't be as attractive as you want, and sometimes you've got to just be a little bit nasty and ruthless, and probably that's a little bit of an area of our game that we've got to go and find. But I wouldn't want to say that, like I say, because you have to decide on that puts an edge on us in any way. When we beat Chesham, Charlie come up with a fantastic moment right at the death. Steno's come up with a moment there right at the death. Equally, we're on the sideline thinking about players that will have to go and take penalties and getting our best penalty takers out there. So, that's crossed our mind prior to Steno getting the winner. And I wouldn't want to start, feeling I'm clever enough to go and find those moments and feel that that's any real bearing on why we can win away or don't win away.
Sure. Sure. I mean, you kind of answered the next question I was going to ask there, which was, had you actually been thinking about penalties at that point?
Yeah, definitely. Speaking to Charlie, probably Ola, with the greatest respect, probably Jid and Edward wouldn't take penalties, I don't think. And you're kind of readying yourself to try and get your best penalty takers out there and striking the balance of getting to that point. I suppose you always know you could potentially nick it, like we did, which is fortunate. We haven't had to go to penalties, and it's nice when you win it, like I say, in the manner that we have, and just for everybody to share in that moment and enjoy that moment is why people pay money to come through the gate and feel they've got a team that will keep going for them, even in the most difficult of times. And hopefully there's evidence there again that we can be that team, and hopefully we are and will be that team.
Sure. I suppose just to wind up, Monday's draw, I guess, a home draw, that's the main thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Like I say, I've not had a look and see who's got through, and I think being at home and having the energy of what's in the crowd behind us, and keep lifting us and supporting us is a big thing for us. And the more that we get that opportunity, hopefully the more results we can deliver. Look, if we have to go away from home, as you said earlier, we can go and get wins away from home. More have come in cup competitions than have in the league so far. But yeah, it's great to that the club can look forward to another draw. And we wanted a greater run in the FA Cup than we did. We were really disappointed after the Sutton game. Felt we could have won it on the day. Didn't. We move on. It's nice to get through today and look forward to that. And hopefully the draw is kind to us.
Kevin, thanks as always for your time.
Thank you.